Story 16. Girl I dated in high school was a Seventh-day Adventist, and therefore hyper-religious, and she lived with her aunt. Her grandma would regularly visit since her aunt had to work weekend a lot. Well, one day I had snuck over while her aunt was at work. We were fooling around in her room when we hear the door open and shut, followed by her grandma's voice booming through the house. Well, in classic style, she shoved me into the closet half naked, slipped her PJs on, and calmly walked into the other room. I silently waited for what seemed like an hour, but was more likely like 2 minutes. She rushes back into her room and pulls me into the living room. Her grandma had stepped back outside to get something from the car. She told me to go out the back, but of all times the fucking door got stuck and her grandma was coming back into the house. Well, essentially she played keep away with her, hiding me behind the kitchen/living room divide, until she got a chance to lead me into the garage where she claimed she had dirty clothes washing. Her grandma seemed to believe her, but I quickly realized I didn't have my keys/wallet, or even fucking socks. Just my pants, shirt, and jacket. Well, my ex had to go back into her room, quietly gather my things. Unfortunately, she did not realize I forgot my socks too, so I went sockless, and stealthily delivered them to me. I heard her grandma asking suspicious questions, but ignored them, and went out the side door scot-free, or so I thought. Maybe 20 minutes down the road my ex texted me simply saying, "My grandma knew it was you here." Cause apparently, even though she is old, she did recognize my car parked only one house down. Story 17. Had sex with my then-girlfriend. During the act I felt something strange on my ball sack while I was on top of her. The room was relatively dark, so I didn't see something. I thought it's her, that she is grabbing it, but then I realized that both her hands were on my arms, so something was doing something with my sack. And before I could even ask her anything I heard a loud "WOW." Her dog entered the room and licked parts of my body that shouldn't be licked by a dog. Story 18. My first boyfriend in high school. It was a half day of school, so we went home to bump uglies. We were horny teenagers that figured out how parts fit together. We barely made it in the front door before we got buck naked on the floor. It was very loud. We had already memorized our favorite positions in a pocket Karma Sutra. We probably looked like we were porn stars on set. My mother had also come home early. We didn't hear the car, or the door unlock, or her standing there in complete shock. She was trying to get our attention, and it wasn't until we were about to change positions that we saw her. She told us to get dressed, and that she needed to talk to both of us. She sat us down and very calmly asked us about our birth control. She told me she would make an appointment at the doctor to get me started on the pill. She gave us both hugs and, "I love you, but you need to keep this in your bedroom." She then explained that it's disrespectful to the people you live with to put them in a situation like this as well. I think we went out to eat together afterwards, or something, I don't really remember. This first boyfriend lasted through the better part of high school, and we are still distant friends. My mother looks at him like a son she never had. He still remembers her to tell her Happy Mother's Day every year and her birthday. Story 19. In college, losing my V card. At the foot of the bed going down on her, while my day-drunk roommate decides he wants to play COD on my PS3. He just yells from the hall and barged right in. A well-timed donkey kick meant I didn't miss a beat, and he got the point. Story 20. Late one night after watching a movie in the living room, I started giving hubby a BJ. It was after 1 a.m. All of a sudden he taps my shoulder and just goes yoo-oo, but not in a sexy way. I look up to see my 10-year-old daughter standing there. Story 21. Met a lady while out at a bar. Went back to her place and started fooling around. Knew she had a roommate, but didn't think anything of it. Clothes were shed, and she left for 1 minute to run to the bathroom. During that time, I hear a knock at the bedroom door, and it instantly opens. Turns out her roommate is some middle-aged guy. He just stands there for a few seconds and looks at me laying on the bed in my birthday suit. Lady comes back from the RR and casually says, "Don't freak out, it's okay," and then closes the bedroom door. To this day I still don't know if she was talking to me or the roommate. Needless to say that we finished up shortly thereafter, and I never visited again. Story 22. I have 2 stories. Due to some fallbacks in our respective employment and careers, my ex-wife and I had to move back into my parents' house. It was a large house, so it wasn't that much of a hassle. The first time involved a friend of mine coming over to go see a film at the theater. My ex-wife was going out with her friends, so we were both getting ready in my room. She decided, while I was getting dressed, would be a great time for a BJ. I'm not going to complain and stop her, so I'm sitting in the end of the bed, and she is going to town. Unannounced to us, my friend had shown up, and was led into the house by my younger sister who was home. He heads upstairs, does the rude short knock, and immediately opened the door. My ex dives to the floor, and I try to pull up my pants and cover the best I can. He for sure knows what was happening and says, "Hey, we have to get going, the film is starting soon." He closes the door, and we both finish getting dressed. I walk her downstairs, and give her a kiss goodbye as she leaves to go out with her friends. I head back up to my room, and my buddy is in there sniffing like he smells something. He turns to me and says, "It smells like an interrupted blow job in here." The next was along the same line, still in my room in my parents' house. It was a Saturday morning. We woke up and decided morning sex was a great idea. My parents had decided to make breakfast for everyone that morning, and we are spooning with her in front of me, holding her top leg up for the right angel to get in. She is facing the door. Then my dad doesn't even knock, just opens the door, says, "Breakfast is ready, come down and eat." He pretty much got a full frontal of my ex with me inside her from the back, as she rapidly tried to pull the blankets up. He didn't even fully close the door as he left. TLDR, if you move back in with your parents as a married adult, install a lock on your bedroom door. Story 23. After a drunken night at the bars, I was fucking this girl in my friend's basement on the couch when his dad, who is good friends with my parents, walked down the stairs. I made eye contact with him right as I thrust it into her. He looked so freaked out and said, "Sorry, I didn't know anyone was down here," and then turned and walked right back up. We sat there for like 20 minutes, too afraid to go upstairs to be able to leave, until we finally just sucked it up. He was sitting on the couch in the living room as we were leaving, and we said goodbye really fast and booked it out of there. I think he was kinda pissed that we did that, since it's pretty disrespectful, but he never really said anything. He did make a joke once about seeing my bare ass thrusting away, LOL. Story 24. I work for a cruise line, meaning I share a cabin with another supervisor for my department, sometimes another DP. So it's not uncommon to be balls deep in someone and just hear a door opening. We have some sheets that block side of the bed, but sex is sex, people can tell. I've had roommates complain, laugh, but the top one was this dude, a friend of mine, who said he was tired of my shit, so it was payback time. He pulled a chair and sat down facing the bed.